men and women on this committee are good people. They're honest and caring people. And that's why I do not understand why you would relegate this committee to no longer being of significance and resort to saying you will do whatever Elon Musk and Donald Trump tell you to do.
Well, if the people on this committee are good, honest, and caring, maybe there's a good reason that they want to listen to Donald Trump and Musk right now, who want to take out corruption from the government. What's going on, Generation Opt-Out? If you're like me, you've wanted to see corruption and fraud coming out of the government, but you never thought it was going to happen. It looks like it's happening, and it looks like this guy is really mad about it.
Where's the independence of the committee? Where's the legislature? We're an equal branch of government.
That's true, you are an equal branch of government, but with different duties. The Congress makes the laws. The president executes the laws. The executive branch executes the laws. Legislative branch legislates the laws. The secret is in the name.
And you start off with a blather, and yet when we look at the empty seats here, where's Elon Musk?
He's really just upset because this is the one day he came to his job and he wanted to meet Elon Musk, but Elon Musk didn't show up.
I'm sure he's a genius and is a very credible person because of the wealth he's accumulated. But that does not put him above the law or the responsibility to come before this committee in this Congress.
He's very successful because he works very hard. He actually sleeps at work, unlike many of our federal employees who, even though they work remotely, can't answer an email within a week.
If he's so great, if these plans and all the fraud and abuse that he's found are so evident, why isn't he here explaining it?
How dare you, Elon Musk? How dare you, Donald Trump, make an executive order, an executive decree, carrying out the legislative law without asking Congress's permission first? We make the laws. You say what to do. We say okay. Wait, is that not how it is?
You know why.
Because he's working.
Because he's out to privatize Social Security.
This is actually a really funny point, because historically, where this separation of powers came from was the Magna Carta in 1215. King John of England had been waging war with France for a little bit of land that was owned by England but in France, and the French wanted it back. John waged war and lost, therefore losing all of the noblemen's money that they had been forced to put up to support this war. That led to the Magna Carta, where now the nobles had the power to approve or disapprove whether the king had the right to go to war. That's what this is all from, and that is why Congress has the power of the purse, has the power to determine how money is being spent, and also the right and the power to declare war, whereas the president does not. The president wages the war as the commander-in-chief, but it is the Congress who has to agree to go to war because they are the representatives of the people. It is ironic, this concept came because it was thought that the Congress would not waste the people's money because, like the nobles, it was their money. It was their money to waste. But now we have this problem where the president is trying to cut out all of these programs that actually balance the budget, and you have Congress members absolutely losing their minds saying, how can you take these programs away from us? We have to have them. It's not our money. Let's just spend it. Let's just print the money out of thin air. So we have a $2 trillion deficit. That's okay. Our grandkids will pay it.
He's been on television the last couple of days talking exactly about Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid, and what he intends to do. Privatize it.
Well, that just took a different direction. He's trying to privatize Social Security. For what purpose? Does he have an investment company that he wants people to join into? Is he an investment banker? I think not. He's in technology. He wants to go to Mars. He wants us to balance our budget so that we can actually afford to go to Mars. His dream is to have a multi-planetary species, but we cannot do that if we're so far in debt. Yes, maybe he does have some other incentives in that he does not want us to go bankrupt because he wants us to go to Mars. Now, do I care about going to Mars? No. Do I care about us going bankrupt? Yes. So we're on the same page. John Larson's not.
The American people, some of them may have been born at night, but not last night.
Now, if you weren't born last night, you may notice that we don't actually have the money to pay for Social Security and Medicare. You also may, and maybe you watched the clip on Fox Business where Elon Musk actually talked about why he wanted to cut Social Security, Medicare. He doesn't want to cut the whole program. He wants to make it sustainable by cutting out the fraud. He said there's probably $500 billion in fraud within that program, and the Democrats have basically been using it as a magnet for illegal immigrants, saying, hey, come to our country. You can have all of these Social Security programs. It's free money. Hey, some of you will even put up in a high-class hotel in New York City. Sounds great, right? Come on in. You may say it makes no sense why Democrats would do that, because illegal immigrants don't have the power to vote. Well, some places they do. In some places in Maryland, for instance, if you are a resident of an area, not a citizen, but a resident, you do have the right to vote, at least for those local offices. This is also why voter ID is such a big thing. They want at least someday to allow these illegal immigrants to be able to vote as residents, if not as citizens. And how does it affect them now? Because the census that is done in an area does not determine if you are a citizen or just a resident, even an illegal alien. But the census will count how many people are in an area, and that's how they determine how many House seats there are for the House of Representatives. I wonder if that's why John Larson is upset. How many House seats does he have? How many illegal immigrants are in Connecticut? I wouldn't think very many. It's probably liberal enough without him to keep him in power. But it definitely is in these sanctuary cities, in these places where they're congregating illegal immigration, it is giving Democrat lawmakers more power. Even if the immigrants do not have the right to vote. So why is he in a tizzy anyways? It is the Ways and Means Committee. It's their job to have the ways and means to pay for the programs that we have. Obviously, we have a $2 trillion deficit. They're not doing a good job. But it's their job to do it. They are the ones who write taxes. They're the ones who have jurisdiction over tariffs. So that could be where he's getting a little hussy, because Trump is imposing all of these tariffs in order to raise revenue. He says, well, that's my job. You're taking my job. I want my job back. You didn't ask me permission to do my job. Thank you very much. What Trump is using is the Trade Expansion Act of 1962, specifically Section 232, which gives him the right to impose tariffs for national security purposes. And that's exactly what he's doing. We don't need the money. These other countries are bleeding us dry, but we don't need the money. We don't need to buy anything from Canada or anything from China or anything from Europe or anything from Saudi Arabia. We have all the fossil fuels we need. We just do this so that we can have good relationships with them. America has used their economic power and used trade to ensure peace in the world, because they are crazy, y'all. They go to war with everything. You know what happened when Teddy Roosevelt 100 years ago said, hey, okay, so we are going to focus on the Americas. Y'all are out of the Americas. We want nothing to do with European wars because y'all are crazy. We're going to be a little more isolationist. We're going to build this Panama Canal so that we can get in the Pacific Ocean a little better. We're just going to control this region. You guys deal with that. So less than 20 years later, we had World War I. Because Europe can't control themselves. And that's the scary thing right now, because with America coming out of the picture, who is building up their military? Germany. Germany wants to control Europe. Germany wants to be the protector of Europe. That's scary. Does that remind you of World War I? It does me. It's even a little more scary because so many illegal immigrants have gone into Germany from Islamic countries that there is a very strong Islamic voice in Europe right now. They say that by the year 2050, Europe is going to be majority Muslim. That's a crazy statistic. Part of that is because of immigration. Part of that is because Muslims have babies at a much higher rate than Europeans. Europeans have a fertility index of less than 1.7, which is the minimum to sustain a culture. Muslims have, 4 to 8 kids. A lot of kids. Their culture is expanding rapidly while the European culture is decreasing. That Christian European culture is decreasing almost to non-existent now, not only because of the fertility rate, but because people think now that they're too smart for Christianity. You're not too smart for Christianity. You're too arrogant for Christianity. It is hard to be a Christian, to understand who you are before an immortal God, to understand who Jesus is, that he came to this planet as Lord for you. He was obedient even until death. As Paul said, you haven't even been obedient to the point of shedding blood. But Jesus died so that we, with him as Lord, could have one way to the Father, whereas before there was none. But I'm off topic, now I'm preaching. I don't know. What do you think? Do you think Trump should have the power to lay these tariffs down? Or do you think he should allow the Congress to do it? Sure, they run a $2 trillion deficit. But, hey, we can just print more money. If you enjoyed this segment, please tell me about it in the comments, and enjoy the next video.